Good afternoon. It's Thursday, it's 2 p.m., and that can only mean one thing. You guessed it, it's time for 660 Club. My name's Jeremy Bassett. I'm CEO of CoCubed. We're a London-based digital transformation agency. And at CoCubed, we believe that the most powerful, fast, and effective way to future-proof your organization is through partnerships. With a network of over 500,000 startups from around the world, we help brands and retailers find the right tech, the right tools, and the right people to fast-track innovation and stay relevant. Here's a 30-second overview of what we do. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. At CoCubed, we are passionate about democratization. When people ask me, what does that mean? Well, it's one thing, and that is that startups have already invented the future. And as a corporate, innovation is happening around your four walls. Whatever the challenge you're facing, there's a startup somewhere with the answer. And at CoCubed, we believe in bringing those two things together. That's really what the 660 Club is all about. It's about taking a brand challenge and finding rockstar startups that can solve it. Now, if you want to run your own 660 challenge, then we have an offer for you, and that's called gopartner.com. It's where you share your challenge, and then within 24 hours, we'll send you 10 big ideas that we think could transform your challenge into a game-changing solution. 10 big startups that could solve your brief. We've already helped over 40 of the FTSE 100 turn inspiration into impact. And if you're ready to do the same, then we'd love to talk to you. So if you're inspired by the startups that you see here today, but you've got a specific challenge that you'd like to tackle, then share your brief, swipe your card, and let's go partner. You'll find us in the expo right after this, and we can chat more about it there. Or of course, get us online at gopartner.com. All right, back to today. And it has been another big week. No, I'm not talking about Kanye West running for president. I'm talking about the 660 Retail Week Takeover. Every day this week, we've showcased 6 startups to share their big ideas on tackling some of the retail industry's biggest challenges. From revamping customer experiences to reinvigorating physical stores, it's all been happening this week. And today we're culminating that with the biggest question of them all: what is in store for the future of retail? Well, here to tell us more, please welcome to the stage, Poppy Mickelberg. Poppy, welcome back.
Thanks, Jeremy.
So Poppy, tell us what's happening with Retail Week Live later this year.
Absolutely. So Retail Week Live was postponed from March to its new date of October the 7th and 8th later on in the year. It is the largest gathering of retail leadership in the UK. And part of the reason we're partnering, I wanted to explain today, is one of our feature areas is called Discovery, which is where we partner with you guys, and we house 50 of the most exciting startups that we believe are shaking up the retail industry. And what happens is throughout the 2 days of the event, we run a pitching competition, which is judged by a group of senior retailers and experts to then crown the startup of the year. And retailers love Discovery because they can quickly identify which startups could help with new innovations and new ideas within their businesses. So really looking forward to the next hour to give us a little taste of what's to come in October.
Brilliant. There it is. Get it in your diary, 7th to 8th of October. So Poppy, we've already looked at some of the big questions facing retail this week, but today the topic is getting even bigger. As Retail Week, you're close to many of the biggest retailers in the UK and also around the world, and you've got an interesting perspective on the future of retail. I'd love to hear more about that and where you think the opportunity is for startups to play.
Absolutely. So I think the pandemic has brought about a colossal amount of change in just a few months across the retail sector, and in particular the grocery sector. In some cases, we've seen a decade worth of transformation in just a few months. And I think the impact of COVID-19, and at least in the short term, probably the medium term, will really change consumer habits and confidence quite dramatically. And retailers are really going to need to remain agile in order to deliver for those customer needs and requirements. I guess to do that, retailers are going to have to look for the right partners. They're going to have to be able to work quickly and efficiently with them to react to those changing consumer demands. And especially at the moment when things are changing from week to week. And I think startups are critical there. They can really help support retailers with that transformation. And the other thing that I think is really important for startups is for them to be keeping ahead of market trends, them to be spotting where the opportunities are, being able to adapt their solutions to then be able to add those back to retailers and add value to their business. So I'm really excited for Retail Week Live in October. There's going to be tons of discussion on the future of retail, and I'm sure the industry will look a very different place even to what it looks like now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great insights there, Poppy. We'll be hearing more from you later, right after the pictures. But for now, goodbye, and we'll see you soon. All right. A lot of you here are already SixSixty Club members. You know how this works, but for those of you who are new, just a quick introduction to what's going to happen over the next 50 minutes. So in just a second, we'll hear from insights from our guest speaker. Then we'll jump straight into the action with the 6 pitches from our 6 startups who are blazing the trail in the retail industry. Then at about 2:45, we'll head over to the expo booth where you can meet with the startups, ask some questions, connect with them, and meet other club members as well. As always, on your right, we've got the chat bar. Say hi, make comments, ask questions as we go. But right now, it's my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today. Anna Barsby has been one of the UK's top CIOs and is a people and transformation leader, used to delivering large-scale change across many different industries. As the CIO at Halfords and Morrisons, she significantly improved the technology capabilities of both organizations, and Anna was voted one of the top 15 innovative influencers in retail. She's today leads a management consultancy firm called Tessient. Please welcome Anna. Anna, welcome to the club.
Thank you. Hi.
Anna, you got an amazing bio, and I'm sure I pretty much just butchered it. Why don't you start by giving us a little bit of a lowdown on the life of Anna?
So I tend to describe myself as a people and change leader who happens to love what tech can do, because for me, it's all about the business outcome. It's got to be relevant. It's got to be something that's, properly delivering value to an organization. But there is so much tech out there that it's an incredibly exciting area to be in. I mean, as you mentioned, I've been CIO at both Halfords and Morrisons, and I look at both of those pieces of work as major change programs, and fascinating organizations, both have had highs and lows, and both doing well in a particularly disruptive and very difficult market right now. I've just started Tessient in January with a couple of colleagues, and we are specializing in transformation, digital change, and making sure we can help retailers and other industries. But 80% of what we're doing today is with retail, looking at opportunities on either cost reduction, but more importantly on how to transform, improve supply chains, improve routes to market, to make sure that true multi-channel world can work for those businesses.
Yeah, very cool. And I like your focus on tech that delivers rather than tech for tech's sake or innovation for innovation's sake. I think that's an important thing for everyone to remember. A question we've been asking a lot at the moment, Anna, is the impact of COVID. But I'm really interested to hear your perspective on this, because you've got quite an interesting perspective working with retailers and then on the tech side of that. How's COVID impacting retail, and what are the biggest challenges, but also the big opportunities that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is obviously the major shift to online, and everybody's doing it. And those retailers that were nimble and agile enough to make the most of that during COVID have managed to mitigate the risk as far as possible. But obviously the move from physical shops and town centres was already happening, but this has just sped it up significantly. And I can't see it going back to how it was before. I think there's a huge impact on product retail. So which I think is going to impact on experience retail like cafes and hospitality. So they are completely joined because it's where people want to go into town centres, and I think you do need that balance. Some will come back, but others will unfortunately fold. You could argue that those that are struggling and are going to fold, that could have happened anyway, and we're just speeding up the inevitable. I think that's some and some. I absolutely agree that there are a number that are struggling now that would have struggled in a few years' time anyway. I think there's a real change in spend profile that could be temporary, away from fashion and into tech, for example. But I do see that coming back in the fashion world. Everybody's saying, why buy clothes to just sit from here upwards? I think multi-channel, has become even more economically important than ever, because shops just can't pull their weight for a while. Grocers aside, everybody else is really struggling. There's too much space, supply chains are unreliable, and we're also losing that main hub of customer engagement, which is the town centre. So I think years of high costs for car parking, high rates, poor investment in town centres has just, it's all come to the fore right now as well. And I think, customer engagement online is going to be crucial, and it's no longer just the typical SEO, Google. I think we're going to see a lot more influencers, a lot more of the YouTube generation coming through, and buying through Facebook and all the rest. So I think that's, we've got to drive down our cost of our pick and pack operations, got to drive down the cost of online, but we've got to improve that experience, and understand what the breadth of an online engagement strategy is for customers online compared to what shops are just used to doing. So that's probably my summary of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, fascinating. And it feels like there's probably about 10 years of work to do there in the next 6 months to execute this properly. I guess in some ways that's what's happening to the world, isn't it? We're sort of fast tracking our way into the future here.
Yeah.
You've led the digital transformation at companies like Halfords and Morrison's, as you mentioned. I'm interested, what role do you think innovation plays for retailers wanting to future-proof their business?
I think it's absolutely huge. I think it needs to be completely joined with technology strategies. I think the days of putting all your eggs in one basket for massive ERP systems and real big end-to-end systems are past. I think we've got to be much more nimble. You've got to have modular, best of breed strategies in technology, and part of that, in order to get those smaller, more nimble modules into your organization, you need them to become flexible and stay flexible, and that's where startups come in. We need to open the door to really understand what are those challenges that we're trying to solve, what's the question that me and my peers are trying to solve in an organization, and then reaching out to in a completely different way to where we would have done. We would have just had a list of, 5 or 6 main suppliers we already work with, and you talk to them about innovation. We just can't do that anymore, because we have to be much more future-proofed and more modern, and just a lot more innovative in the way that we think, and we don't have time to do that inside these big corporates. So we have to find those channels and those ways that we can get hold of those people that do have the time to be working on the future.
Interesting. So more nimble and agility, greater nimbleness and agility, but a real opportunity there to be working more with startups as well. And I guess that's a big change for a lot of retailers. Looking ahead though, what do you think success looks like in the next 3 years? What does the future of retail look like?
In some ways, no different, because you still want the right product in the right place at the right price. However, I think that slicker online marketing that I talked about earlier, I think we've got to really embrace the social, the influencer world that the next generation are bringing with them. The real-time engagement with customers. Again, stores have relied too much on doing that through their shop floor and through their shop window, and they need to just be a lot cleverer and a lot more, just think a lot more about that whole social landscape nowadays, and think, where do they fit? Where does their brand fit? What are those channels within that social space? And then thinking about the physical side, I think there's, having flexibility of space is going to be key, and being able to repurpose or drop space as and when you don't need it. So again, that whole flexibility is going to need to come. It's a lot easier to do online, but you're going to have to start doing it really with physical estates. And we've talked a lot in the past about, being an experience destination, but it absolutely, matters more than ever. If you've got a really sort of drab cafe in the corner of your store, then it is not going to pull people in. That has to be a destination in its own right. So I think there's a huge amount that the physical side of our store estate needs to wake up and modernize, which the online space is getting a lot quicker for sure. But I think smaller stores, flexible, because I do think a lot of that store estate is going to move to residential as well. So, but again, flexibility.
Yeah. It does feel like flexibility is the key word here, doesn't it? I mean, the future belongs to those who evolve the fastest, and flexibility is what enables that. Anna, thanks so much for those insights. We'll look forward to catching up with you in the booths after. But thank you for joining us right now.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, we promised you 6 startups in 60 minutes, and that is exactly what we're going to give you now. So let's get on to our first pitch, and that is using big data to make better pricing decisions isn't always a walk in the park. Here to make it easier is Lindsay from Sparkbox. Lindsay, welcome to the club.
Thanks everyone for joining today. I'm Lindsay. I'm a co-founder at Sparkbox, and we help merchandising teams sell more inventory more profitably by optimizing their pricing and making better merchandising decisions with data. So it's sales season right now, and you've probably seen some big discounts online, maybe if you're brave, in store as well. And maybe you've wondered how retailers decide which products get which prices and at which time. If you're in merchandising though, or you're a trading director, you probably already know that currently discounts are really the result of guesswork, maybe a little intuition and an ad hoc Excel. So it's surprising, but it's really true that very few retailers are accessing their data to make data-driven pricing decisions at scale. And that's because there's so much data, there's so many products, there's so many market considerations that it's essentially impossible for a human to optimize prices manually. So at Sparkbox, our goal is to find the right prices for your products and to help you clear inventory as profitably as possible and avoid over discounting products. We use your trading data, we use external data like weather to understand how customers respond to changes in price. And then when it's time for a markdown or promotion, we consider every possible price you could pick, and we recommend the best course of action given your business goals. So we deliver all of our recommendations through a really user-friendly application that helps merchandising teams with their planning and execution. We've learned from prior experience that this kind of tech is really only good if it delivers, and it needs to deliver by really embedding and getting adoption from the teams that are using it. So my team and I came from a retail and consulting background. We previously built custom pricing solutions for retailers like Arcadia and Shop Direct. We founded Sparkbox in 2018. We're based down in Southampton, and we've had some really great results so far. We're working with a fast fashion client with about 400 stores across Europe, 4 online channels, and we're using Sparkbox with them across their entire business. So in their winter sale, we improved cash margin their cash profit by 20%. So really exciting result that we're really happy with. My co-founder is on the call today, Kevin. He's a former Accenture partner, and he's also the brains behind our data science and machine learning application. So we'd both be really happy to chat afterwards, or you can reach out to us directly on LinkedIn or sparkbox.co.
Brilliant. Very interesting, and obviously something that's relevant for the future, but of course very relevant to COVID and the situation that's happening now, Lindsay. I'm interested, obviously a lot of fashion retailers in particular are facing inventory challenges following lockdown. How are your clients starting to use Sparkbox to recover from that?
Yeah, I think what we've heard in the media is that everyone should expect big discounts, and obviously there's a ton of inventory, and discounting is one way to work through it. But I think what's really cool is that we've been able to use Sparkbox through this period with our clients to help them understand where they actually need the discounts and where they don't. So we're seeing in some cases a huge increase in propensity to spend on certain items and in certain places. And what we're doing is helping our clients kind of identify which products need the big discounts and which don't. So I think for me, the theme of the future of retail is that we need to figure out how we maintain our businesses by selling less inventory a lot more profitably. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Sparkbox.
Fascinating. Cool. Thank you, Lindsay. Of course, like you said, you'll be in the booth right after this where people can touch base with you in the expo zone. But for now, we'll move on to our next pitch. I think it's fair to say that we're all missing human interaction in one way or another. Go In Store is here to humanize the customer experience in a digital world. And here to tell us more is Ferdinand.
Hey,
Ferdinand, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Hi, guys. I'm Ferdinand. Consumers are moving online, but they're finding it hard to transact on complex, expensive products. And as a result, brands need to create seamless, meaningful retail experiences that make this buying easier. Go In Store connects online shoppers with in-store staff via intelligent live video calls. This informs the consumer and empowers them to make high consideration purchases online. And the consumer can enjoy the best aspects of shopping online and in-store: convenience, anonymity, and a human interaction. You can engage your customer, showcase your products and expertise, and even add those products to the customer's basket mid-call, removing friction from the path to purchase. Activity is tracked, analyzed, and reported, giving our clients the information they need to make the most of our proven solution. There's no need to be satisfied with a 1% conversion rate when Go In Store averages over 20. Across our existing clients, we've seen. But of course, if the end customer isn't happy, then neither is our client, which is why we're so proud that our global average customer satisfaction rating is over 94%. At Go In Store, we base decisions on data, and our clients do too. We report from the high-level macro information touching upon usage and the financial results attributed to Go In Store calls, all the way down to the infinitesimal data points that analyze each individual salesperson based on their performance, considering their individual conversion rates, average revenue per call, and average customer rating. We can get you live in as little as 2 weeks, and we're experienced working with companies of all sizes, from Samsung and Microsoft to our great British success stories like Ribble Cycles, Sophology, Currys, Mamas and Papas, Brompton, so many more. Our activations range from the US to Japan, from Norway to South Africa. So wherever you are, whatever you sell, we've got you covered. Retail isn't just changing, it has changed forever and for the better. And to learn more about its next chapter, come and talk to us in our virtual booth. Thank you.
Boom. Great pitch, Ferdinand. Hey, I'm really interested. Obviously, this is really timely solution for a lot of retailers. What's involved in implementation? Can a client get up and running quickly, and what are the results?
Yeah, very little. It's a very light touch implementation. We are a sort of JavaScript overlay, so it's something that can be done incredibly quickly. We challenge any new client to work as quickly as we do, because so far we haven't had anybody outpacing us. And once you're live, the results, well, they speak for themselves with the clients that we already have. But you know, we've seen a 4,000% increase in consumer usage over the last 3 months. And as I say, conversion rates of over 20%, average order value uplift of between 30 and 45. What's not to love?
Amazing. Fascinating. Well, like you said, you'll be right in the expo booth after this. So thanks, Ferdinand, and we'll move on to our next pitch. Did you know that 47% of Gen Z and millennial consumers want to try AR but aren't being offered the opportunity? Well, here to change that is London Dynamics, and from London Dynamics we have Alistair. Alistair, welcome.
Hello there. Hi, my name is Alistair, and I'm really excited to share with you what we see as our vision for the future of retail in accordance with the other people on this pitching. We are a business that looks to embrace technology that enhances customers' experience, increases conversions, and reduces returns, stuff that we've heard mentioned several times today already. Augmented reality is a massive and under-recognized opportunity for retailers who are looking to upgrade their online storefronts. And this is particularly true in terms of the increasing numbers of online customers that we've discussed in terms of what's happened, but also their rising expectations for the experience and what they can get online. Salesforce said that 87% of every shopping journey starts online, and Accenture said that 50% of customers will abandon their purchase if they don't like the online experience. And both of those stats were before 2020, when, as we said earlier, 7 years of development happened in about 7 weeks. So London Dynamics was founded by the minds behind IKEA Place, which was for a long time the first global application of AR in an e-commerce and sales enablement tool. It was launched with Apple on Good Morning America. And the team behind that has now developed a non-app solution, which is for retailers of any size to allow their catalogs to be offered online and give their customers a rich, detailed visual experience that they can actually use via mobile or browser in their own home. We have an AR as a service solution, so it doesn't really require any lengthy IT project. And what a lot of people don't recognize is it can be embedded as easily into whatever you've developed for e-commerce as a YouTube video would be at this stage. Everybody in our company comes from the world of retail, and they recognize that you've probably developed a advanced e-commerce experience and journey that needs to flow smoothly and be impressive. So what we've developed is something that allows you to incorporate that and upgrade your e-commerce experience, but not just for a few select items. We can do entire catalogs, so it's not just a few showcases. AR becomes an actual functional tool, not just a gimmick. It's not a great product to have to explain with words. I'd love to show it to you with images and visuals, so I hope you'll be able to pop by the booth. We can show you demos from our website or videos. And indeed, if you want a demo of how it would look for your product, we'd be happy to produce one.
Excellent. Also, I mean, obviously there's a demand here for this sort of a solution. There's fantastic use cases that you just outlined, but what's the commercial result? Like, what are brands seeing when it comes to conversion or uplift from deploying these sort of solutions?
Yeah, so the stats are actually coming in a big way because AR has been adopted by bigger and more mainstream brands like IKEA, but also Burberry, Prada, and Apple has made a big play in as well. We have stats from Shopify, Home Builder House, and even a vacuum company called Miele that says a conversion rate of up to 200, maybe even 300% compared against customers that didn't get offered an AR option. But just as interesting is a company, Build.com, who said that they saw a reduction of about 22% in terms of returns if the customer had used AR before purchasing the product. And both of those are massive cost centers for a company and something they'd love to be able to influence. So the evidence of the efficacy of AR is really coming through.
Fascinating. Very interesting. Well, thanks, Alistair. And like you said, do check Alistair out in the booth right after this, and you can see a live demo there. That's 3 down, 3 to go. Today is all about the future, and the team, the term geospatial mapping sounds pretty futuristic. But when it comes to retail location, it's really the reality of today. So here to explain more from a Spectrum, please welcome Artem.
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you. So yes, a Spectrum is location business intelligence platform that allows to transform the mysterious geodata into valuable business outcomes for retail. In the simple words, we bring analytical results in minutes rather than it takes a few weeks with a traditional approach. In November, we had a customer who used a Spectrum and saved $176,000 for the analytics. It was a retailer that presents various modern fashion brands, and the major aim was to expand his network into big European city, Kiev, and find the best location spots to open new shops. The major requirement was to analyze the concentration of target audience with lowest presence of the competitors. First of all, Spectrum identified the residential areas and excluded non-residential objects. By analyzing human foot traffic, we use mobile location data and determine the main people flows inside the city. We added public transport stops as the main attraction for the people flows and create the direct correlation within the audience presence across the city. The next step was to analyze the competitors' presence and their location. We split all competitors into categories and monitor their coverage. It was really big volume of the data, and without a Spectrum within traditional visual or manual analysis, it would take more than a business week for data specialists. And a Spectrum technology allows you to find the most efficient location spots with the highest concentration of your target audience and lowest presence of your competitors just in 60 seconds. Our GPU-based core allows to visualize the millions of data points across the interactive smart maps and bring a valuable solution for you to plan the expansion strategy. Just visit our booth and I will explain how the location intelligence technology can change the market.
Very interesting. So, I mean, this technology is a game changer for people planning warehouses. How much does it change in terms of, how long does it take to plan a warehouse using this?
It's a good question, Jeremy. Simply answer that if you have all the necessary data, it will take up to 15 minutes, including the coffee break. If you don't have enough data, it will take up to 5 business days for our data scientific team to collect all necessary data and then around 15 minutes analysis for you.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more in the booth after this. But now it's time for our penultimate pitch. In today's climate, in-store occupancy management is very much part of the status quo as businesses return to normal. But how do retailers remove the human error when it comes to managing the occupancy to keep staff safe and customers safe? Well, here with the answer is Meryl from OCCUPI.
Thanks,
Meryl,
Jeremy. Thank you. Hi, I'm Meryl, and I'm the marketing manager here at OCCUPI. Today, I'll be telling you about our innovative occupancy management solution called OCCUPI. To open and operate safely during the COVID-19 pandemic, retailers have had to limit the amount of people in store in order to facilitate social distancing. This leads to long queues outside the store and concerns over customer traffic flow whilst inside the store. Additionally, the ongoing cost of employing staff to manage customer numbers is prohibitive, as is the increased risk of unnecessary contact between members of the staff and the public. In April, OCCUPI were approached by Aldi to develop a solution to manage customer occupancy levels. OCCUPI developed OCCUPI, which is being rolled out across Aldi stores nationwide. OCCUPI is an intelligent occupancy management system which uses red and green traffic lights in order to advise customers when it's safe to enter the store. OCCUPI is a genuine occupancy management system that interacts with your automatic doors. OCCUPI coordinates and controls customer entry movement in order to prevent stores from becoming too overcrowded. It removes the need for the store to employ door marshals in order to check customer levels, and it monitors entry based on store calculations for social distancing guidelines and individual store capacity levels. COVID-19 gave us here at OCCUPI the impetus to be really innovative and to work collaboratively in order to develop a solution in record time. From concept to delivery, it took less than 3 weeks. We continue to work closely with Aldi and other retailers to ensure that OCCUPI is responsive to their needs, as well as responsive to the changing world in which we're operating. Thanks.
Very interesting, Meryl. I'm fascinated by the way you've turned this solution around in such a quick period of time, but also the results. Talk me through the results that you're seeing from OCCUPI.
Sure, of course. For instance, one of our customers has reported that they're achieving a return on investment in less than 30 days. But also, in addition to that, they're also seeing an increase in staff productivity because they're keeping staff safe, keeping them happy. So this increase of staff productivity is estimated to be about 15%. And they've also seen an increase in sales of about 10 to 15%. Myself and my colleague Simon will be in our booth, and we'll be happy to chat with anybody about the results that retailers are seeing from OCCUPI.
Brilliant. Thanks. Cool. All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks.
Thanks, Meryl. We have nearly reached the end of the pitches, but we now have one final pitch for today. When it comes to how companies plan for the future and how they execute decisions, there's a missing link. Plugging that gap from DataViva, please welcome Athena.
Hi, everybody. I'm Athena Dementis, and I am a fashion retailer for the last few years, 20 to be exact. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about inventory optimization today at DataViva and kind of the 3 major claims to fame that we have. The first being on the new product forecasting side. This feature is really unique because it gives the ability to predict demand of new items, meaning items that have never been sold before. That's the first part. The second part, the second claim to fame, is having smart allocation and replenishment recommendations for the retailers based on all of the supply chain constraints and also the targets in this ever so dynamic world we're living in at the moment. And thirdly, having a new generation unified platform in real time which overall is a big deal, because being able to provide the right product at the right time, at the right place, in the most profitable way, getting real-time results from retailers, so PO changes or sales and promotions, having that information enables our platform to generate a task flow based on the importance, the order of importance, to help the business leaders to zero in on exactly where they should focus, as well as create a scenario. So if you want to play around and see, okay, what if I do this? How is it going to impact us? So it gives them one place to be able to examine, analyze, and have ongoing feedback, which is continuous in our environment, and be able to make a sound decision, protecting the profitability and servicing their customer, which is super important today. I'm happy to answer more questions in our booth. Thank you very much.
Great job, Athena. I'm really interested in how this solution is different to other planning or supply chain solutions that are already in the retail industry.
I would have to say the biggest change is revolved around the demand forecast and the new product forecast that we have, and being able to really zero in on short life cycle products, also fast turning goods, and predict things that have never been sold, as well as take a look at the overall assortment mix, and apply all of the supplier constraints and all of those things all in one place, and help retailers be able to make better decisions and keep their customers, because right now it's super important to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Very cool. We'll chat later in the booth, but thank you for joining us now, Athena. And a massive thank you to all 6 startups for those pictures. I'm now going to welcome back Poppy to get her thoughts. Poppy, some fantastic solutions there and a great teaser for what's coming up in Retail Week Live in October.
Yeah, absolutely. A brilliant session, and it's been a great week as well. So thank you to all the startups that have taken place. And if you guys liked what you saw, then you can meet them all in person at Retail Week Live, which is the 7th and 8th of October in London, as well as all the startups. There's 120 world-class speakers, including Malcolm Walker, the MD of Iceland, Alessandra Bellini, Chief Customer Officer at Tesco, and Pranav Saxena, the VP of Product at Flipkart, just to name a few. So you can get tickets at live.retail-week.com.
Brilliant. Thank you, Poppy, and thanks to the Retail Week team for being fantastic partners this week. We're really looking forward to continuing the journey into October, and we'll see you in the Discovery Zone.
See you there.
All right. In just a second, we'll all be heading over to the Expo booths, where you can meet some of the companies today, see some live demos. The future of retail is incredibly exciting, but it's definitely also visual. So do make the most of those booths. And of course, if you're interested in finding solutions to your challenge, then come and join us in Go Partner, where me and the team will be there if you've got questions or if you'd like to get started on finding 10 solutions to solve your big challenge in the next 24 hours. Next Thursday, our regular 660 slot will be back with our second brand challenge, this time with Jones Lang LaSalle. JLL is sharing their brief, and we're going to be looking at the future of workplaces, checking out startups that can make the way we work more sustainable, more efficient, and healthier. On the 23rd of July, we're going to be diving into the world of mobility, where Hyundai will be joining us to share their brief, and we'll be looking at 6 startups that are transforming the mobility sector. So right now, let's head over to the Expo Zone. Click on the Expo tab on your left-hand margin, and then click onto one or all of the startups that are interesting to you. Share your video, have a chat, and continue the conversation there. But from me, I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining.